The early 2000s. I remember it like it was yesterday. When Will Smith was still cool, when Beyonce was still dating a white guy, and when pasta was still healthy, according to physicians. When short haircuts on women were only for lesbians. When PS2 was still the hottest gaming system. When Star Wars was still cool. And when queer was something no one wanted to identify as. So what happened? Did we just become more cynical as a people? Or did the world around us change? Well, the Matrix sort of came to real life. Only it wasn't quite as cool as the movies. See, in 2006, everything changed, and the course of the early 2000s took a completely different turn. A genius at Harvard ran in the first global mainstream social media site. And this genius is called Tyler Winklevoss and his brother Cameron Winklevoss, who together created Facebook. But then their employee and developer called Mark Zuckenberg stole their idea and labeled it himself as Facebook and made $100 billion off of it. The way Facebook was marketed seems so out of touch now, but believe it or not, people actually liked Mark Zuckerberg in the beginning. I know it's weird, but back in the early 2000s, no one had seen a billionaire this young that wasn't wearing a three-piece suit and wasn't 100 years old. So they thought it was sort of fascinating to see a young college dropout hipster lead one of the biggest companies in the world. Of course, now we've learned that all those portrayals as humble or relatable were just completely fabricated. And over time, Mark Zuckerberg's taken more of an image as a wannabe human. The kitten glove treatment from the press was really bizarre looking back. Every interviewer was just completely glazed in Marky Mark all over his style and attitude. As if there was something humble about someone going to Harvard because they had rich parents and then dropping out because they started a tech company with someone else's software. The initial advertisement for these early social media companies like Twitter and Facebook was bizarrely optimistic and ideological compared to nowadays. They didn't talk about retaining viewers or about making money off ads. All of their promotion revolved around bizarrely ideological social concepts like bringing the world together, helping young people connect, advancing the progress of society, and so on. These are just some of the pretentious lines that would come out of the mouth of early 2000s tech CEOs at any time of the day, as if these people were going to rein in the second coming of the Messiah with their tech companies. Ironically, social media never brought the world together. In fact, it drove it apart. The misconception is that people would use social media to meet each other and connect, which they did in the beginning, but sooner or later, social media became more evolved around influencers, attention, media, and politics, more so than about people connecting. According to every statistic, young people have become more antisocial since the birth of social media. You see, social media isn't used as a device to meet people, it's used as a coping mechanism. Instead of hanging out with friends, you check your notifications and talk to people online. Instead of dating, you DM people or make a Tinder profile. Except for the reality actually is that a very small amount of these interactions actually result in real life interaction. Like how many times you DM someone or text someone or post on someone's status or post on someone's wall and actually expect to meet them after. It's actually rare that people online meet. So instead, it removes us from the real world and places us into a false world, a make-believe world, a world that's not real and not social at all. A world where, unlike the actual world, personality and charisma plays no role and take a backseat to status, wealth, looks, and fame. On top of that, the new generation who grew up in this environment is also lacking extreme social skills, and the likelihood of them meeting someone in person is even smaller considering they never got to develop those social skills. Another stark difference is that meeting people in person requires you to be social, meaning requires you to be likable. People who are famous on social media and people who are popular on social media can be as unlikable and narcissistic as they want in person, as long as their body's hot enough, or their posts have enough clicks, or their lifestyle's flashy enough for the camera. This makes it so that nobody actually is incentivized to be polite or social. And that's why there's a stereotype that the younger generations are inhumane, out of touch, impolite, and antisocial. It's simply because being social is not important when all your friends are online. So another misconception is that we're going to use social media to meet people, but let's be honest. How much time do you actually spend on social media versus how many times do you actually meet someone that you've met on social media? Realistically, the reason why is because when you meet someone in person and you get to know their personality and you get to know their character, it actually establishes a lot more trust in them than if you would just see them online and not know anything about them. It's a big leap to meet someone that you really don't know anything about except for their profile picture. And therefore, we're not likely to actually meet someone online. So, in short, social media should actually be called anti-social media, since it doesn't allow us to meet people, but in fact, it might actually allow us to be chronically antisocial and cope by posting things online, but barely actually engaging in social interaction. So the question is, do we need social media to be a sexualized, superficial, dopamine-endorsing digital trap? Do we need our sons and daughters to be addicted to vain and sexualized content online, which just builds insecurity and stops them from actually going out and meeting people in real life? Are the upsides worth the downsides? And are there no ways we can minimize vanity on these platforms? Would we be more social without social media? If you want to give us your opinions on any of these matters, then please comment below.